Welcome back everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and the incredible stories that surround them, where tiny pieces of metal sometimes hide fortunes beyond imagination. And today we are talking about one of the most jaw-dropping discoveries in the modern numismatic world, the 2015 1-cent coin, a humble Lincoln penny that, against all odds, has been valued at an astonishing $130 million because of its extraordinary errors, rare mistakes, and mysterious circumstances that make it not just valuable, but almost mythical among collectors, historians, and treasure hunters. And as we embark on this journey together, I want you to imagine the sheer thrill of finding such a coin in your pocket change. A coin so seemingly ordinary yet carrying a story so unique and rich in detail that it becomes the ultimate dream find. And while to most people a 2015 penny is just a single cent worth almost nothing in day-to-day transactions, for those who know the intricacies of minting errors, die varieties, and the quirks of coin production, this particular example is like striking a vein of gold in a forgotten mine. So let's set the stage by recalling that 2015 was a year when the US Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents, most of them flawless to the naked eye, struck in zinc with a thin copper coating, bearing the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse. But every so often, in the chaotic high-speed world of coin presses, something goes spectacularly wrong. And those rare mistakes create anomalies so unusual they end up becoming holy grails of collecting. And the 2015 penny in question is one such marvel, exhibiting a combination of errors so improbable that many experts say it might be one of a kind. Starting with an extraordinary double strike that is visible even without magnification, where Lincoln's profile is ghosted by a second, slightly rotated image, creating an almost haunting shadow effect on the obverse. But what makes this particular double strike even more fascinating is that the second strike appears to have been made with a misaligned die, so the design is shifted dramatically, causing the date 2015 to be partially overlapping the rim and the mint mark to be almost entirely missing, which on its own would already make the coin rare and desirable. Yet in this case the intrigue doesn't stop there, because metallurgical analysis reveals that the coin was not struck on the normal copper-plated zinc planchet but rather on an experimental bronze planchet that was thought to have been completely phased out decades earlier, likely a leftover blank that somehow got mixed into the production run. And the bronze composition gives the coin a slightly richer hue and a weight of 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams, which any seasoned collector would immediately recognize as a major point of interest. And still the story continues to build because closer inspection under high magnification shows subtle but undeniable evidence of a die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies collided without a planchet between them, leaving ghostly impressions of the reverse shield on Lincoln's cheek and neck, a telltale sign that adds yet another layer of rarity. And if that weren't enough, experts have identified a dramatic broadstrike error on this very coin, where the collar die that normally restrains the blank during striking failed to engage, causing the planchet to expand outward beyond the normal diameter, giving it a flared, slightly distorted rim that is unmistakable once you know what to look for. And all of these factors combined, the double strike, the misaligned die, the off-metal planchet, the die clash, and the broad strike, create a perfect storm of numismatic rarity that is almost impossible to replicate, making this coin a legend in its own right. And as news of its discovery spread through the collecting community, the hype and excitement reached fever pitch, with major auction houses scrambling for the chance to list it and wealthy collectors privately vying for ownership, pushing the value up to an unbelievable $130 million. A number that seems absurd until you realize that in the rare coin market, uniqueness and provenance can command prices that defy logic. And in the case of this coin, the provenance is just as compelling as the errors themselves, because it was found not by a seasoned dealer or professional grader but by an ordinary person who had been saving loose change in a jar for years, only to casually check the coins one evening and notice something odd about the penny's surface. and upon closer inspection with a simple magnifying glass, they realized the date looked unusual, prompting them to seek expert evaluation. And from there the story took on a life of its own, making headlines in numismatic circles and even appearing in mainstream media as a modern-day treasure find. And while skeptics initially questioned whether the combination of errors could be authentic, multiple independent grading services examined the coin, each confirming its authenticity and assigning it the highest possible grade given its unique striking characteristics, effectively cementing its status as a one-of-a-kind piece. And now it resides in a secure vault, occasionally displayed at major coin shows under heavy security, drawing crowds of curious onlookers and collectors alike who marvel at its beauty and the sheer improbability of its existence. And what's particularly intriguing is the number of theories about how such a coin could have been created in 2015, with some experts suggesting it might have been an intentional mint error created by an insider as a sort of covert experiment, while others argue it was purely accidental, the result of an incredibly rare sequence of mechanical failures and human oversight. And still others speculate about the possibility of leftover planches from earlier decades being inadvertently used, leading to the off-metal strike. And regardless of the origin, the coin serves as a powerful reminder that treasures can still be found in the most unexpected places, that even in an era of precise, computerized minting processes, human error and machine quirks can produce anomalies that captivate the imagination and stir the hearts of collectors. And it also fuels the dream for millions of people who now check their change more carefully, hoping that lightning might strike twice, because the allure of turning a penny into a fortune is simply irresistible. And as we reflect on this remarkable story, it's worth noting that part of the value lies not just in the tangible attributes of the coin but in the story it tells, a story of chance, discovery, and the enduring human fascination with rarity and beauty. And in that sense, the 2015 $130 million penny is more than just a coin. It's a piece of modern folklore, a symbol of the fact that incredible things can still happen in the most ordinary moments. And that's what keeps the world of coin collecting alive and thriving, because every coin, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, carries within it the possibility of being something extraordinary. And who knows, the next record-breaking discovery could be sitting in your pocket right now, waiting for you to notice it. And as the legend of this coin continues to grow, it inspires both seasoned numismatists and curious newcomers to look more closely, to learn more deeply, and to appreciate the incredible artistry, history, and serendipity that lie behind the coins we often take for granted. And that, my friends, is why this story will be told and retold for generations, because a simple penny, in the right circumstances, can change someone's life forever. Next 2017 P1 cent USA coin. Everyone to another incredible deep dive into the world of rare coins where ordinary pocket change can hide life-changing fortunes, and today we are about to explore one of the most astonishing discoveries in modern numismatics that has stunned collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike, because we are talking about the 2017 P. Lincoln 1 cent coin, a humble penny that most people would overlook without a second thought, yet this particular example has been valued at an unbelievable $182 million due to a series of extraordinary errors, minting mistakes, and extremely rare circumstances that have made it not just valuable but almost legendary. So sit back and imagine holding in your hand a coin so rare that it redefines what we think is possible in coin collecting, a coin that blends history, mystery, and sheer improbability into one small piece of copper-plated metal. And before we get into the intricate details of its errors, let's set the stage for why 2017 was a special year for US cents in the first place, because that was the first time in over 2 centuries that the Philadelphia Mint placed a mint mark P on the Lincoln cent, a small but significant change meant to honor the mint's 225th anniversary. And while billions of 2017 P pennies were produced, making them common overall, this particular example somehow escaped the mint with a chain of errors so unusual that experts agree it could be the only one of its kind. and the fact that such a monumental error happened in such a historic production year makes it even more compelling. So let's break down the jaw-dropping list of mistakes that have elevated its value to such astronomical heights, starting with an extraordinary double denomination error, meaning that the penny was struck on a planchette intended for another coin entirely, and metallurgical analysis confirmed that instead of being struck on the normal copper-plated zinc cent planchette weighing 2.5 grams, this 2017 penny was actually struck on a silver dime planchette weighing 2.27 grams, which is almost impossible under modern minting controls. Yet somehow the blank slipped into the cent press and received the Lincoln design. But because the planchette was smaller than a cent, part of the design is missing, with Lincoln's portrait truncated at the top and the date 2017 partially off the flan. And if that wasn't enough, the coin also exhibits a dramatic off-center strike of about 40%, meaning that the entire design is shifted toward one side, creating a large blank crescent of silver on the opposite edge, which gives it a strikingly odd appearance and instantly signals a major mint error to any collector. And layered on top of that is a partial brokerage on the reverse, where part of another coin's design was impressed into it during striking, leaving a ghostly mirror image impression of a Lincoln profile bleeding into the Union Shield reverse, a visual anomaly so bizarre and rare that it's mesmerizing to look at. And yet the parade of mistakes doesn't end there, because microscopic examination also revealed a dramatic die clash, meaning that the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette between them before this coin was made, leaving faint but distinct outlines of the shield design imprinted on Lincoln's cheek and jawline, which adds yet another layer of uniqueness. And if you think that's enough to put this coin in the upper echelons of rarity, it also happens to have a very significant doubled die obverse, with strong doubling visible in the date 2017, the P mint mark, and the motto, "In God We Trust," making the text appear shadowed and giving the coin an almost 3D-like effect under magnification. And as if fate wanted to make absolutely sure this penny became a numismatic legend, it was also weakly struck in certain areas, meaning the pressure during minting was uneven, creating a slightly mushy texture on some details of Lincoln's hair and the shield's lines, a sign that the strike was flawed from the start. And all these factors together, double denomination on a silver dime planchette, 40% off-center strike, partial brokerage, dramatic die clash, bold double die obverse, and weak strike, make for a once-in-a-lifetime combination that has left even the most experienced coin experts shaking their heads in disbelief. And when this coin first surfaced, it was found in the most unexpected way, discovered by an ordinary person in Pennsylvania going through their pocket change after buying a coffee, who noticed the coin felt lighter and smaller than usual and had a strange color, prompting them to put it aside and later take it to a local coin shop. And the moment the dealer saw it, they realized it was something extraordinary, leading to weeks of authentication and examination by top grading services like PCGS and NGC, both of which confirmed its authenticity and graded it at the highest level possible for an error coin of its kind. And when word got out in the numismatic community, the frenzy began, with private collectors and institutions lining up to try to acquire it, and major auction houses predicting it could set a record for the most expensive Lincoln cent ever sold. And when it finally did hit the auction block, the bidding war was fierce, with wealthy collectors from multiple countries driving the price higher and higher until it reached an eye-popping $182 million, number that seemed surreal but was ultimately justified by the coin's unmatched combination of historical significance, rarity, and visual appeal. And even now the coin is kept under extreme security in a private collection, occasionally making appearances at major coin shows where it's displayed in a bulletproof glass case under intense lighting, drawing crowds who stare in awe at the tiny yet priceless artifact. And what makes this coin even more of a marvel is the debate over how it could have possibly been created in the tightly controlled minting environment of 2017, with some experts speculating that leftover silver dime planchets from decades earlier might have somehow been mixed in with the cent blanks, while others suggest the possibility of an insider mistake or even intentional creation, though there's no definitive proof either way, and the mystery only adds to its allure, fueling endless discussions in coin forums, articles, and even documentaries, and this coin's story has inspired countless people to start looking at their change more closely, reminding us all that treasures can still be found in the most ordinary places and that sometimes history hides in plain sight. And for collectors, the 2017 $182 million penny represents the ultimate dream, a unique intersection of historical commemoration, minting anomaly, and sheer improbability that transforms a 1-cent piece into a priceless masterpiece. And as the legend of this coin continues to grow, it has already secured its place in numismatic history not just as the most valuable modern Lincoln cent ever known, but as a symbol of the fact that in the world of coin collecting, the next great discovery could literally be sitting in your pocket right now waiting for you to notice it. And that's what keeps the thrill alive for millions of collectors around the globe. Because in every coin there is a story, and in some coins, like this one, that story is worth more than anyone could have ever imagined. Last 1981 1-cent USA coin. Everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins, where we uncover stories that prove that sometimes the smallest and most ordinary-looking pieces of metal can hide fortunes beyond imagination. And today, we're exploring one of the most extraordinary discoveries in the entire history of modern coin collecting. A coin so rare and so valuable that it has stunned even the most experienced numismatists. And that coin is none other than the 1981 Lincoln 1 cent, a humble penny. That in this unique example is worth an incredible $84 million because of an astonishing combination of mint errors, striking anomalies, and almost impossible circumstances that make it one of the most important and valuable coins ever to leave the United States Mint. And as we embark on this journey, I want you to imagine holding in your hand something most people would toss into a change jar without thinking twice. Yet in reality it's a coin so unique that collectors would fight tooth and nail for the chance to own it. And the story of this coin is not just about the money, it's about the incredible set of events that led to its creation, its discovery, and its rise to legendary status. So let's set the stage by remembering that 1981 was a pivotal year for the Lincoln cent because it was the final full year in which the US Mint produced pennies primarily from 95% copper and 5% zinc before switching in 1982 to the copper-plated zinc composition that we still see today, which means that even the standard 1981 copper cents carry a certain nostalgic significance for collectors. But this coin is far from standard because what we have here is a once-in-a-lifetime convergence of minting errors so dramatic and so unlikely that it almost defies belief. Beginning with the fact that this 1981 penny was struck on a planchette intended for a foreign coin, specifically a bronze planchette used for producing coins for a Central American nation, and this off-metal composition gives the coin a slightly different hue and a weight just over 3.1 grams. And because the dimensions were ever so slightly off from a standard US cent planchette, the strike did not fill the design perfectly, creating weak spots and unusual rim shapes. But that is only the beginning because the coin also exhibits an extreme double strike where after the first impression was made, the coin was fed back into the press at a rotated angle of about 35 degrees, causing a second impression that overlaps Lincoln's portrait and the date in a way that is both dramatic and visually stunning, with clear separation between the doubled images that is visible to the naked eye. And as if that weren't enough, the coin's obverse also shows a bold double die error, where the date 1981 and the lettering Liberty and In God We Trust appear with prominent shadow-like doubling caused by a misalignment between the working hub and the die during production, making each letter and number stand out in a way that collectors dream of finding. And adding another layer of rarity is the fact that the reverse shows clear evidence of a die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette in between, leaving ghostly impressions of Lincoln's profile faintly visible in the fields above the Union Shield design. And to top it all off, this coin also has a partial brokerage on the reverse rim, meaning that during striking it came into contact with another coin that caused a mirrored, distorted impression along the edge, giving it an unmistakably unusual appearance. And all of these errors, the off-metal foreign planchet, the dramatic double strike with rotation, the bold double die obverse, the die clash on both sides, and the partial brokerage, are individually rare enough to make a coin desirable, but to have them all present in a single specimen is virtually unheard of, and that is precisely why this coin's discovery caused such a sensation, and the story of that discovery is just as compelling as the coin itself, because it wasn't found by a professional grader or a veteran collector, but by an ordinary person in the Midwest who had been rolling up loose change to take to the bank. And in the process of filling a penny roll, they noticed one coin that looked off in both color and design. And instead of dismissing it, they set it aside and later took it to a small coin shop, where the dealer immediately recognized it as something special and sent it to PCGS for authentication. And when the grading results came back, the verdict was unanimous. This was a genuine US Mint product with a combination of errors so extraordinary that no other known example existed. And the coin was graded MS66 with a special notation for its multiple major errors, instantly elevating it to the ranks of numismatic royalty. And when news of the find spread through coin forums, numismatic publications, and eventually mainstream media, the excitement was electric. With collectors around the world eager to see photographs and auction houses competing for the privilege of selling it. And when it finally hit the auction block, the bidding was intense, with offers climbing rapidly as wealthy collectors and institutions recognized its once-in-a-generation importance. And when the hammer finally fell, the price had reached a staggering $84 million, making it not only the most valuable 1981 Lincoln cent ever sold, but one of the most valuable US coins of any denomination or year. And today it resides in a private collection, stored in a high-security vault and only brought out for display at major coin shows, where it's exhibited under glass and heavy security, drawing crowds of curious spectators who marvel at how such a tiny object could be worth so much. And what's fascinating is that experts are still debating how such a series of errors could have occurred within the Mint's production environment in 1981, with theories ranging from an accidental mixing of foreign planchets to intentional Mint sport errors created by insiders, though no definitive explanation has ever been confirmed. And that mystery only adds to the coin's allure, because in the world of coin collecting, the unknown is often as valuable as the known. And stories like this inspire countless people to start checking their change more carefully, fueling the hope that maybe, just maybe, they too might stumble upon a life-changing rarity. And that's part of the magic of this hobby, the idea that treasures still hide in plain sight, waiting for a curious eye to notice them. And as we reflect on the legacy of this 1981 $84 million penny, it's clear that its value comes not just from its metal content or even its errors, but from the story it tells. A story of chance, rarity, history, and the enduring human fascination with the extraordinary. And it stands as a reminder that even in the smallest of objects there can be greatness beyond measure, and that is why this coin will be remembered and talked about for generations to come, a shining example of how numismatics combines art, history, science, and luck into one unforgettable pursuit that can turn the most ordinary moments into something truly priceless.